Welcome back to the Making of Me podcast, where we dive deep into the minds of experts who have helped us navigate life, leadership, and personal growth. Today, we are joined by Dr. Angelo Valenti, a consultant of physiology, coach, author, and speaker with over 40 years of experience helping individual and organization. He's the founder of the company Psychology and the author of Making the Way. Find your easy way, not enjoy life. Dr. Valenti has guided countless leaders, team, and individual towards greater confidence, clarity, and purpose, helping them enjoy life in their term. He's here to share practical insights for building meaningful relationships, making better decisions, and living life of ease and fulfillment. Hello, it's a pleasure having you on the show.
Thank you so much.
Dr. Angelo, what were some of the challenge and choices that shape you into who you are today?
Well, it's been a long journey for me, so I've got a lot of stories. Really the first challenge that really hit me was when I was in college. I had gone to college with the idea of being a dentist because my father was a dentist, my grandfather was a
Good.
dentist, so I figured I would just be a dentist. And when I went to college, the courses I was taking that were leading me toward dentistry, I didn't enjoy very much. And I took Psychology 101 as an elective because you need to take some other
Yeah.
courses besides your courses in your major. And I enjoyed it. I liked psychology, so I took Psych 102. I figured maybe I'll make psychology my major or my minor, and I took Psychology 201, which was a year course, and the professor was terrific. He was dynamic, and I kind of fell in love with psychology based on that course. So I changed directions, told my parents I'm not going to be a dentist, I'm going to be a psychologist, and to their credit, they said just go for it. Do what makes you happy. So I got a bachelor's degree in psychology, and about the only thing you can do with a bachelor's degree in psychology is get an advanced degree. So I went to graduate school and got a PhD in psychology. Then I kind of had to decide what was I going to do with that. But I really wanted to be a college professor. So I applied to for different jobs, and I became a college professor, and I did that for 4 years. This was in the late 70s, and the economy here in the States was not very good, and I just wasn't making very much money. And I had two young kids, and I decided to make a career shift. So I left teaching, and I joined a consulting firm. And that's where I learned to work with businesses. And I really enjoyed working with businesses. So in 1982, I had a client. I was living in Memphis, Tennessee, and I had a client in Nashville, Tennessee, which is about 200 miles east of Memphis. And he and I really kind of developed a good relationship. He liked what I was doing for him. I liked his business. And he encouraged me to move to Nashville and set up my own consulting firm in 1982. I had never thought about having my own business before, but the way he encouraged me and explained it to me, he basically said, I'll help you get started. Give you an office, I'll give you a telephone, I'll give you health insurance, and I'll guarantee you what you made last year. So I figured I was 33 years old, and I figure if I'm going to take a chance, this is a great time to take a chance. So I just went home and told my family we're moving to Nashville. So in June 1st of 1982, I formed the company Psychologist, and I've been working with businesses and leaders and lately individuals who want to live their best life, find a little easier way to enjoy life. And that's been my journey. And of course, when you're in consulting is a discretionary expense. Companies don't have to pay a consultant.
Yeah.
So I've been through several recessions, and I guess one of the things I'm most proud of is that I've survived all of it and still have a good business, still have great clients, and looking forward to continuing to work until my body shuts down, I guess.
Wow. Amazing. Amazing. I think just hearing your story out, the fact that you were actually more like longing for the dentistry, and the fact that along the way you change to psychology and you put in your energy in that, or from there to a college professor, or from there into business. Yeah, it's really an amazing journey, and it just shows that every choice was very critical at every point, and you're actually more like giving your all. Amazing. Yeah.
And it kind of for your listeners, it shows you that you don't have to be stuck doing
Yeah.
one thing. Just because you're doing something now
Yeah.
doesn't mean that's what you have to be doing the rest of your career or the rest of your life.
Yeah. Amazing. Thank you. So your book talk about finding an easy way to enjoy life. Can you explain what that means and why so many people make life harder than need to?
Sure. Can I show you that? Here's my book right
Yeah.
here. All right. So the reason I wrote it is because I work with a lot of what society would consider to be very successful people. They
Mm.
have great jobs, they're running businesses, they have all the trappings of success, they have nice houses, cars, take great vacations, their family leads a pretty good life, but they didn't seem to be enjoying it as much as I thought
Mm.
they should. I mean, if you've achieved that level of success and financial security and good relationships, why weren't they enjoying it? So I kind of dug into it a little bit and I realized that people make their lives much more complicated than it needs to be. And one of the things they do is compare themselves to either other people or to what other people tell them they should be like.
Mm.
So, and when you compare yourself to other people, it's a recipe for failure because first of all, you don't know what's going on behind closed doors with those people. I mean, people present an image on the outside to the outside world that may or may not be accurate. And social media has done a lot to create this culture of comparison where you feel like you need to compare yourself to what you see on social media, but what you see on social media isn't real. It's somebody's scripted, edited, created version of what they want you to see. So your real life can't compare to somebody's little movies that they're
Yeah.
putting out on social media, right?
Yeah.
So that's one thing people do. And another thing people do to make life more complicated is they don't focus on self-care.
Mm.
I think taking care of yourself is critically important because if you don't take care of yourself, how are you supposed to take care of anybody else? And so they neglect, they don't eat right, they don't get enough sleep, they're working ridiculous hours, they're stressed all the time. And that's going to, at some point, your body's going to break down.
Yeah.
And if your body doesn't break down, your mind's going to break down.
Yeah.
So I really emphasize doing simple things that can improve your health, your physical and mental health. And one of the things I recommend is exercising a little bit more. And I don't mean you have to run
Yeah.
marathons or anything like that. But if you just take a walk out in nature for 30 minutes a day, you'd be amazed at how what that does for both your mind and your body.
Yeah.
And if you take that walk, I encourage you not to wear headphones. Just listen to nature and just think while you're walking. Eat a little bit better. That's another simple thing. Making sure you're eating the right things and not a lot of and people who are on the go all the time, they have a tendency to pick up junk food and just kind of shove it in their mouth. Be more intentional about what you're eating. And the third thing is, and I can't emphasize this enough, is get enough sleep. People don't get enough sleep. And sleep is where your mind and your body recharge. And I'm a big proponent of naps. I love
Yeah.
naps. I think people should take a nap for 20 or 30 minutes at the point during the day when their energy naturally goes down. Everybody has a certain point during the day. It's different for each person, but they have a certain point during the day when their energy's kind of flags. It goes down, they just don't feel that they can do as much. They're tired, they're drained. And if you take that little 20-minute rest, 20-minute nap, you'll find that it recharges you and then you'll end up being more productive. And at the end of the day, you won't feel totally wiped out.
Yeah, amazing, amazing. Yeah, be more intentional about what you eat, about your health, and so more like, yeah, quit comparison. And just we just said it. Yeah, comparison is a stealer of joy. Being that, yeah,
It is.
you never see yourself more like as good enough once you start comparing yourself. And this is really amazing. So over the last 40 years, what is the biggest difference that you have observed between successful and unsuccessful leaders?
Great question. The biggest difference between successful and unsuccessful people is that successful people will do the unpleasant but necessary things that unsuccessful people won't do. They have the discipline, they have the drive, they have the commitment, they have that sense of responsibility. So they know what needs to be done. And even if it doesn't feel good, and even if they don't feel like doing it that day, they're willing to do it because they know that that's what's going to lead to long-term success. Many people, when things get difficult, they just quit. And if your outlook on life is when things get tough, you just quit.
Yeah.
You're never going to get to where you'd like to be
Yeah.
from a success stand. And everybody defines success in their own personal way, but quitting is never going to get you there.
Mm.
And if the three things that I tell people, if you just show up on time and prepared, if you do what you say you're going to do, right? And you work it hard, you're going to get ahead of 90% of the
Mm.
people. The people are going to be quitting all the way, all along the way.
Yeah.
So just and treat people with respect.
Yeah. Treat people
That's
with
another key
respect.
factor.
Yeah. Amazing.
Because
Amazing.
so many people today are disrespectful. The whole social media, I keep talking about social media, is because a lot of
Yeah.
people spend a lot of their time on social media. But it's very disrespectful. A lot of comments you receive, a lot of posts you see, or I think we've lost a sense of courtesy and decency. And I think if you take it upon yourself to treat people with dignity and treat people with respect, you'll stand out from the crowd because it's become rare.
Yeah. Amazing. Amazing. Yeah. Successful people will do the unpleasant things that unsuccessful people wouldn't do. Yeah. Amazing. Yeah. Thank you for that. So, how can people learn to love themselves and gain more self acceptance in a world full of pressure and comparison?
Well, the first thing you can do is start saying good things about yourself to
Mm.
yourself.
Yeah.
We have a tendency to run ourselves down. And when you do that, if you program your mind that you're not worthy, you're not a worthwhile person, your mind starts to believe it.
Yeah.
And you can do the opposite. If you start complimenting yourself, because everybody has good qualities,
Yeah.
everybody's good at something. You might be kind, nice, funny, hardworking, whatever it might be. You have a lot of good qualities. So start complimenting yourself about those good qualities. Start saying nice things about yourself to yourself, and it can reprogram your mind into a much more positive mindset. And self love is not the same thing as selfishness. Self love is recognizing your own worth. And again, if you expect other people to recognize your worth, you have to recognize your own worth.
If you want others to recognize your worth, you have to recognize others' worth. Yeah. Start saying good things about yourself. Amazing. Thank you so much,
Yep.
Dr. Angelo. So, in your consulting work, what do you see as the biggest mistake company make when hiring? And how can they hire the right people for the first time?
Well, the biggest mistake that companies make, and this has been going on for forever, is they hire for skills. They're looking for people with the right skill set. And what they end up doing is firing for attitude. They hire for skills and they fire for attitude. And what do I mean by attitude? If you're late, if you can't get along with your coworker, if your customers don't like you, if you're complaining all the time, those are attitude issues. Those are not skill issues.
Yeah.
You can teach people skills. You can't teach people attitudes.
Mm.
Whatever attitude they come in with, that's the attitude they're going to have at work.
Yeah.
So I always encourage companies to look for attitude first, and then if they're lacking some of the skills, you can teach those skills. And just because a person was successful in one company doesn't mean they're going to be successful in another company, because each company has its own personality. So what I try to do is help companies match the personality of the person to the personality of the organization. And if you can reduce turnover and hire the right people, it's much easier to build and grow an organization if you're not continually trying to hire for the same job all the time.
Yeah. Amazing.
It kills your momentum.
Yeah,
Yeah.
amazing. I think when you just make reference of it just dawned on me a particular quote that I had that, yeah, definitely you can't teach work ethic. You can actually teach our skills and everything.
No.
Someone that work ethic, you can't teach it then. Yeah, hire with work ethic and a whole lot of skills will be learned. Yeah, you'll be in a safe hand. Yeah, amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. And you want to hire people that have a teachable spirit. They
Yeah,
want to learn.
yeah,
If people don't want to learn, they're just going to be stuck wherever they are forever.
yeah. Yeah, thank you, Dr. Angelo. So, after decades of helping others, what do you see as the most consistent factor that motivate people to take action and thrive?
Well, the thing that motivates most people to take action is pain. You know, they finally realize that something's not working. And it could be physical pain, it could be emotional pain, it could be financial pain, it could be they're unhappy in the relationship that they're in. So if people are comfortable, they're less likely to take action.
Mm,
The comfort zone is a prison because it's comfortable. I mean, right? And if you, in order to grow as a person, you have to be willing to step out of your comfort zone, and that can be challenging. It can be painful. It's going to require some work. But if you want to get to where you want to get in any aspect of your life, you have to be willing to make tough decisions that are going to you change the way you're already doing things in order to get to where you want to go.
yeah,
And a lot of people will resist change like you can't even believe.
yeah,
Most people hate change, right? And that's the reason, one of the reasons that entrepreneurs and business people and people in other areas of life end up being more successful because they don't resist change.
yeah.
They recognize that change and growth go hand in hand, and growth can be painful. That's why they're called growing pains, right?
Yeah, amazing. Grow in pain. Pain can be a very lot of motivating factor. Yeah, so lastly, Dr. Angelo, why is goal setting so important? And why do many people struggle to follow through on their goals?
Well, goal setting is important because if you don't know where you're going, chances are you're going to end up someplace else, right? So, and the reason people fail in their goal setting is that they don't set goals the right way. Okay, they might set a goal, I want to lose weight. Well, that's too ambiguous. What does that mean? For some people, it means 2 pounds. For some people, it means 100 pounds. So if you're going to set goals, they have to be specific. They have to be measurable. They have to be achievable, and there has to be a time frame. You have to be able to monitor your progress. And people fail in goal setting because they're not systematic about it. You have to be systematic about it. And you have to recognize that achieving a goal, you're not going to achieve it right away. You have to be moving toward that goal, right? And along the way, there's going to be times when you're making a lot of progress, and there's going to be other times when you're kind of plateauing and you don't seem to be making some progress, but then you'll get another big jump and you'll see some more progress. And if you set a goal that's meaningful to you and you set it the right way, then the journey, some of the most fun is in the journey
Yeah,
along the way to achieving that goal.
thank you so much for sharing. So, Dr. Angelo, for my audience who want to connect with you, who want to reach out to you, and those who actually want to get your book, how can they reach out and where is the best platform?
The best way to reach out to me is just go to my website, which is www.angelovalenti.com. There's links to my book. You can buy the book directly from the website. I've created a course, Enjoy Life the Easy Way, which for not very much money, you can get 8 coaching sessions from me basically about relationships, money, making good decisions, taking control of your life. That's available on the website. You can also book a discovery call, free discovery call, if you want to talk to me about something. And I'd love to hear from you. You can send me an email.
Yeah,
And that's the best way. You can also find me on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, X. I don't do much on X, but
yeah.
quite a bit on TikTok.
Amazing, amazing. So definitely I'm going to add out the link to your websites or to the show notes for my audience to easily reach out. Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Angelo Valenti. Your insights remind us that life doesn't have to be complicated, whether it's leading a team or building a strong relationship or simply learning to enjoy life. Clarity, self-awareness, or purpose. And purpose are the keys. Yeah, thank you all for sharing your decade of wisdom with us today and for showing our listener that the path of fulfillment can be easier than we think when we find our own way. Yeah, it's really a pleasure having you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. This was fun.
Yeah.